Good evening. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to our City Council meeting. It is Monday, October 2nd, and it's always great to see smiling faces here. So as we get started this evening, we have a tradition, and that tradition is that we open in prayer. And I so appreciate Pastor Monty Sears with Christian Faith Center being here to open us in prayer. And then joining him as we do the pledge will be our Boy Scouts. So let's stand. Pastor Monty, thank you so much. You've been here a number of times. Really appreciate you and your leadership, and thank you for taking the time to come.
Yeah. Thank you. It truly is a privilege and an honor.
Thank you.
Will you bow your heads? Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening in Jesus' name. Father, we thank you that you are a sovereign God, that there's not one of us here by accident. You in your sovereignty have raised up elected officials, and we thank you for the leadership demonstrated in Canyon County and Nampa, Idaho, one of the greatest places in all America to live, in part because of the exceptional leadership. Father, you see the agenda tonight. I pray that you give each and every city council member, our mayor, wisdom. I pray, Father, that we would lean on you, not on our own understanding, and that you would guide and direct our steps. You would guide and direct this meeting. We thank you for, again, each and every elected official, our police officers, firemen, and we thank you that we live in such a wonderful place. So guide and direct us tonight in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Monty. Thank you, boys. Really appreciate you helping. Thank you. Okay, let's begin with roll call.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Gruner.
Here.
Jingula.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Hammerfield.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. I'm not aware of any proposed amendments to the agenda. Council, do you have any proposed amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, I would stand for a motion to adopt the agenda as stated.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. The consent agenda is before us, and I would stand for a motion to approve it as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is our proclamations. We have one proclamation this evening, and it's National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as I read the proclamation, Jeannie Strohmeyer, you're welcome to come forward. Whereas domestic violence impacts women, men, and children of every age, background, and belief. And whereas nearly 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men in the United States have suffered severe physical violence by an intimate partner. Victims are deprived of their autonomy, their liberty, security, and face tremendous threats to their health and safety. And whereas since November 2005, the Nampa Family Justice Center has received 86,656 client visits, providing hope and services to adults and children suffering from abuse. And each year, there are more served than the previous. And whereas the Nampa Family Justice Center, one of the original 15 centers funded by the President's Family Justice Center Initiative of 2003, continues to mold its programming and services to provide the best services in one location for clients and help them successfully maneuver through the justice system. And whereas the Nampa Family Justice Center rightfully prides itself on the strong partnerships it has created within the community in collaboration between government and nonprofit organizations to provide coordinated services to women, men, and children suffering from family violence. And whereas it is fitting for the Nampa Family Justice Center to celebrate its 18th anniversary 1 month early to coincide with the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now therefore, I, Debbie Kling, Mayor of the City of Nampa, Idaho, do hereby proclaim October 2023 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Jeannie, here's your, go ahead and give this to you. Thank you so much for all you do, and thank you for sharing a few words with us. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a minute to share. I just want to say thank you. This is an issue that we deal with on a regular basis every day. As Mayor mentioned, we've served many people in our community, and it's only because of the support of the city and the support of this community that we can do that. Our mission is to promote safety, self-sufficiency, hope, and healing to those affected by abuse. And we get to do that. We get to see people come in that are unsafe and walk through with them along the journey to be safe and to have healing in their lives, and that they become productive citizens in this community. And we have 2 that are currently on our foundation board that have been clients in the past, and now they are serving. We have many volunteers that come in and serve that have been clients in the past. And we have many more people that in our community, they will call us and say, I want you to know I'm going to school now because of what you've done. I want you to know I'm doing really well because of how you guys have supported and helped us. We are making a difference. We are changing and saving lives. And it is an absolute privilege. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity that not only I have, but that we have in doing this work together. So with my deepest heartfelt thank you, we so appreciate what you guys are doing and how every October we can make this statement and we could proclaim Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October 11th, we are going to have a training on domestic violence, child abuse, human trafficking. And so far, we have about 200 people signed up for that. We're so excited about that. But we want that room to be full of people to learn about what's happening in our community. And we are bringing and changing lives. So thank you so much. I do have a little ribbon that I'd like to give each of you. It is a cloth ribbon sticker that you can put on your outfit if you would be okay to do that. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Jeannie, thank you. I tell you, the work that is done through the Family Justice Center is, it's inspiring, it's difficult, and we have so many dedicated employees that are there making a difference. So Jeannie, thank you so much. So this is the opportunity for our public forum time. And it is a time that we will hear from Nampa residents if anyone signed up. But before we start there, we have 2 recognitions this evening. And we're going to start with Boy Scout Troop 116. And I'm going to read real quickly. So the City of Nampa's Code Compliance Division received a complaint of a home that was out of compliance due to a falling tree near a walkway. Upon examination, city staff realized that the homeowners were unable to do the work themselves and asked if they could ask the Boy Scouts to assist. Carol Shackelford with Code Compliance called Boy Scout Troop 116 in late August, and the group was not only helped down the tree that was fallen, but also mowed and cleaned up the overgrown vegetation in their backyard. And we wanted to take this opportunity to commend you guys and thank you for your willingness to go above and beyond and to make a difference in someone's life. And you know what? While it took a few hours out of your day, you saved them countless hours. And I know that they were truly blessed because of your willingness to step up and help them. So we would like to thank you. And so I think I'd like to have you all come forward so that we can honor you. And then I have a pin for you. And we did a picture earlier. But would you come forward? And I've got a pin for you. Okay, so we've got Benton Bernard. Benton's in our Mayor's Teen Council. Benton, I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing. Thank you. Thank you. Brandon Beeson. Hi, Brandon. Here you go, and thank you. So nice to meet you. Eddie Kluwer. Hi, Eddie. So nice to meet you, and thank you for your work. Tommy Kluwer. Hi, Tommy. Here, we'll do this. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for your work. Corbin Jacobson. Hi, Corbin. thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for your work. And Caden Allen. Hi, Caden. Thank you for being here, and it's so nice to see you. Thank you for your work. And then our scout leader, Kenny Beeson. Kenny, thank you for leading these guys and spending your time investing in the lives of others. Really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Here you go. And Rob Kluwer is not here. That's right. I've got it down. So here's a pen for Rob. If you could tell him thank you. Thank you guys for making a difference. And so before we stop, I want to ask city council members, do you guys have anything you'd like to say? Or any questions for
Yes,
these
ma'am.
guys?
Thank you, boys. Thank you very much for all what you do. And, you know, you are our ambassador for the city of Nampa. And I want to thank you for that, because what people see is what they see you. Someday, I hope I will be able to see you in a blue uniform with the Nampa Police Department. Not the fire department, the police department. Thank you, and God bless you all.
So is somebody close to an eagle? I am an eagle. You are an eagle.
Working on it.
Oh, my.
And
Congratulations.
Benton, would you like to share where you're headed, hopefully?
I've applied to the Naval Academy.
Congratulations.
We'll be really proud of you when you get accepted. We're excited for you. Yeah.
So I'm just real curious, where do you guys go to school real quick?
Ridgeview High,
Okay?
Skyview,
East?
Idaho Arts,
Yeah.
Columbia High.
A lot of, oh, yeah.
Charter.
All different.
Uh-huh.
Way to go.
Great
Thank you for your
representation.
leadership. You've been doing this a while?
Yeah, 12 years.
12 years. Oh, man, that's a great commitment. And I know it's a sacrifice to a certain extent when you have guys like this, though.
Yeah.
Very rewarding. All right.
Natalie, did you have something you
Yeah, I
wanted?
just wanted to say it's awesome to see you guys getting out in the community and doing something to help others. It's inspiring to see such young kids that are going out and really trying to do the right thing. So I really appreciate you guys going, and go Warhawks.
Did anyone, I wanted to give opportunity if you guys wanted to say something.
Madam Mayor, I'll just echo some of the other comments. Great job, guys. It's really rewarding to help others, and it's great to see you learning that at a young age. And congratulations on the Naval Academy. If you get there, that's fantastic, and you guys will go far.
Yes.
Did you say Naval Academy? Okay. My oldest son was in the Navy, so appreciate your desire to serve. And thank you for your leadership among your age group. It means a lot to others to see how you've aspired to do something special, and hopefully it inspires them to do the same thing. So congratulations on your being here this evening, and thank you for all you've done for us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And we have one more thing tonight, and we have our firemen with us. It's so good to see you guys, so come on up. It is that time again where we have the Muscular Dystrophy Association annual Fill the Boot program.
I do. I got it
Oh,
right
man, I
here.
didn't bring my money with me. Yeah.
Council Mayor, thank you so much for your time. We'll just real quick, I want to introduce Drew Olson. He's one of our leaders in our fire department. He's been running the Muscular Dystrophy Fill the Boot project for us for several years now. And we're looking forward to having the opportunity to request some time out on the street so we can raise used money. So this is Drew Olson.
Right. I brought my costume, so I'm playing dress up for you. So every year we hit the streets and we raise critical funds for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Those funds are used to help with research for the diseases. Also, they advocate for families and support their needs. And more important, they empower people living with these diseases to live longer, more independent lives. And as firefighters, we've had the great opportunity to be a part of that. And every year like I said, we hit the streets and we pass around a boot, and the city of Nampa provides. We live in a great community and a very giving, loving place. Last year was the first year that we were able to do it since COVID, and we raised $21,500 in 8 hours.
Wow.
So the city of Nampa, thank you very much, and Mayor and City Council, thank you for your support. I stand here today requesting permission to work in the intersection of Northside and Cleveland, or Caldwell Boulevard, October 14th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. is what we're requesting.
October 14th. Okay.
So is that an action item, Mayor, or just?
It's not an action item, but I think this is where a nod would be good.
Yeah.
Good. And Mayor, ex-cop has some money for the firefighters.
Okay.
If you can get a picture of this, if you have it under 10, I'll pay you back.
Hey, you got it,
I don't have any money.
We'll be in the streets.
Well,
We'll try to be there.
oh, I do.
Also have an online link that
Okay.
Just keep coming down.
You might as well keep going down. I'm going to have to come out that day, or I can send you to my person in the office, Kirk.
Yeah, or you, if you want to come out and hold the boot with us for a minute, Mayor, more than welcome.
Yeah.
It's
Madam
a-
Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to issue a challenge to Mr. $10 bill down there in 20.
We're well on our way.
Don't forget the $250 attorney down there. Okay.
You mean Senator Lakey, he's got a lot of money.
And also, happy birthday to the chief tomorrow. I hear you're going to be 28. That's fantastic.
For the second time, double.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support. We really do appreciate it. This is something that's been in a tradition in our department for a very long time, and we take great pride in representing the city of Nampa. And I'll echo what Drew said. It's unbelievable the support that the citizens of Nampa give us when we're standing in the street where, people, when they're dumping out their change for us, that could be the last bit of change they have for a while. And so we are very appreciative, and we make sure that money is used well. So we do appreciate you. We appreciate the opportunity, and we'll get out there and represent the city of Nampa very well.
Thank you so much. Thank
You
you
bet.
for all you guys do. Thank you. Appreciate it. And happy birthday.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. So I have to say, Chief Huff's birthday is tomorrow also. Those two share a birthday. Isn't that amazing? Our two chiefs share a birthday. Hey, it's just meant to be. It's a good thing. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Chief, if you'd get Drew a red hat, he'd be a lot more visible out there in the street.
He's very close.
That's fantastic.
I think he's the next one on the list.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, guys. Okay, do we have anyone that has signed up this? Oh, I have one more thing to do before we go there. Oh, my goodness. So, Peter, come on down. Come on forward. So, I am really pleased this evening to have the opportunity to introduce Peter McPherson. And so I'm not using the doctor. His PhD is on the, so you could do either one. But so as you all know, that we had our chief of staff position with Rick Hogaboam moving forward. And I had a number of really great applicants that I am extremely thrilled to announce that we have hired Peter to step into a role, and we're changing the title to Chief Operations Officer. And I'm thrilled to have him on board. So, Peter, I'll let you tell us where you've come from, or unless you would rather, but I would love for you to just share a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. You didn't tell me I was following Boy Scouts and firefighters. It's a tough crowd, but I'll do my best. So pleased to be joining the mayor's team today, and today was my first day. And give kudos to Rick, my predecessor. I've been his shadow all day today, and he's been wonderful. Hasn't kicked me out of his office yet, so I appreciate that. The last 4.5 years, I was Chief of Staff and Deputy Superintendent at Department of Education in Boise under Superintendent Ibarra. Have lived on and off in Nampa since the late 80s. Moved here when I was a teenager. Life took me away, and then about 10 years ago, my wife and I said, we want to move back home to Idaho. And so we've come back to Nampa in 2009. And have been here ever since. I've got 3 wonderful children, 13, 11, and 9. My wife is a teacher at a private parochial school in Caldwell. My background is in educational leadership. Was a district superintendent up in Custer County in Chalice, Stanley area for about 4.5 years. And then prior to that was a high school principal, Gem State Academy in Caldwell. So, so pleased to be joining the mayor, and lots to learn. I think the phrase is drinking out of a fire hydrant, if I got that right, gentlemen. But I'll do my best and start learning names, and just appreciate the opportunity to work with the team and with the council.
Thank you, Peter. And I'm thrilled to have him on board. It was really awesome. I told Rick today, I wouldn't have guessed that it actually would have worked, that we could have transitioned. And that is extremely helpful, so I'm really pleased to do so. But, so, Council, do you have any questions?
Well, you know what I'm going to say.
I know, go for it.
Has
Yeah.
his PhD through NNU. So I think, there's no question he's qualified. Okay.
Madam
You
Mayor,
know-
to
Yes,
the
go ahead.
councilman's point, I actually have 2 postgraduate degrees through NNU. I have an ed specialist and a PhD, and I can't think of a better school and a greater place to have to be an alumnus from. So thank you, sir.
And Mayor, just to reinforce your decision, I sent to what you sent us to Heidi Curtis, Dr. Heidi Curtis, who's over the doctorate program, and she said you couldn't have made a better decision.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. So.
Well, I tell you what, you know who I turned to when I wanted to check this guy out was Clay Long. And then guess what happened? He said, as a matter of fact, we did our PhD cohort together. So, yeah, that worked out great, and he did come highly recommended by Clay, so, which is great. So any other questions? Do you want to put him on the spot, or are we all good to go? You can do that later. Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and then did we have someone signed up?
Madam Mayor, we do not have anyone signed up for the public forum.
Okay. With that, I think we'll move on. And you know, we do not have any agency or commission reports, and we have no staff communications this evening. So let's step right into new business. We're going to step into action item 7.1. This is to award a bid and authorize the mayor to sign a contract with the American Cleaning Service for janitorial services for the city of Nampa, the Nampa Public Library, and the Nampa Development Center, Services Center, not to exceed the contract amount of $192,142.32. This was reviewed and approved by legal. It is in the FY and approved in the FY24 budget. Brian Foster is here. I don't know, Brian, if you want to share something, or he's here to answer any questions. Council, do you have any questions?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
my only question was the extent of buildings that this covers. Does it cover City Hall as well?
No,
It does not. This is just for the Nampa Public Library and for the Nampa Development Services Center.
Just the 2 buildings then? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Pingula.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Item 7.2 is an action item, and this is to authorize the mayor to sign the third amendment to the services contract agreement preventative maintenance for HVAC services for the total amount of $107,733. This is for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning maintenance citywide with RM Mechanical. It was reviewed and approved by legal and is approved in the FY24 budget.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, or are there any questions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I feel like this is something we should put out to bid. In the environment we're in right now, we're getting numbers back that are considerably less than we've been getting, and there's a lot of people hungry for work right now. We're seeing numbers from people I've never even heard of that are calling and asking for work, and I feel like we could probably get this cheaper than what we've been paying, considerable amount. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing in the market. It's really interesting. There's a lot of people that are hungry right now.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. Is there any comment? Yes, Councilman
So Brian,
Haverfield.
can you speak a little bit to the process you use to select R&M?
Yes. So this is the third amendment, as it states. In 2021, this was a public bid opportunity, and we go through a pretty extensive process of not only selecting the lowest bidder, but the best qualified provider. And That is a one-year agreement with the possibility of 4 one-year extensions. So we take it a year at a time. Each year, we sit back and evaluate what the level of service has been and decide if we want to extend the offer or not. This year, we looked at it. We were very pleased with what happened in the last year, so we decided to extend an offer to negotiate an additional year. We met with RM, negotiated. There were minimal increases that we felt were justified. We added several new sites to the list and came up with a cost that we feel is a good value to the city. RM provides really good service for us. We have some pretty high standards that we like to keep, in that their staff has to be have a high level of background clearance to work in all the law enforcement agencies and things like that, and they're able to maintain that staff, which is a little different than we have with a lot of other service contractors. Takes a burden off of our workload to not have to escort the contractors around. But I think, as you see, there's about 107 sites on there, which represents every department in the city, every building that has HVAC in it. So, like I say, we went through a pretty good process again this year, and our recommendation is to go ahead and extend the agreement one more year.
Yes.
I have another question, Madam Mayor. It says 11.5% increase in our packet. And then on page 103 in our packet, it shows the hourly rates for labor, and none of that's filled out. Do you know what those are?
You possibly, because the one I have has them filled out. Maybe you didn't get all the information. I printed out the packet this morning, and attachment A does have the hourly rates.
Could you tell what those are?
Yep, sure. So for a supervisor, regular time is $105 an hour. For our standard technicians, it's $85 an hour. An electrician, $85 an hour. Sheet metal worker, $85 an hour. A pipe fitter is $85. A welder is $75. A laborer is $50. Their mechanics are $75, and a certified welder would be $85, and a helper is $50 an hour. What we typically see here is just the technician cost, the $85 an hour. Very little of anything else other than the supervisor once in a while.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yes, you may.
And is that a burden labor rate, or is that, do you add O&P to the top of that, or is?
No, that's their
actual?
flat labor rate, and that not only applies to the contract, but it's for any work that we procure outside of the contract for repairs or replacements of major equipment. That is all at that same labor rate.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. So we do have a motion on the table and a second.
Mayor, if I may, Councilman Reynolds, so what do you see? I mean, you don't have a crystal ball, I know, but you're saying that there's a lot of people hungry out there and maybe a lower bid. So you feel like there'd be someone that'd be comparable in quality and having the passes and whatever for the different buildings and so on. And what do you see as a fair bid for this, or might be a realistic bid?
Well, I don't know the overall scope, so I can't tell you what a realistic bid would be for it. But it typically, like for the state, when they're bidding stuff like this out, it's bid on an hourly rate plus a percentage, and then it's a lump sum amount up to, and then so when you're bidding that, you're basically bidding an hourly rate. But what I'm seeing in the market is there are a lot of people looking for things to do, and there's larger companies that are able to get employees that haven't been able to get employees, and there's a lot of qualified HVAC companies in this valley that can do projects like this and get clearance, because they work for the prison or whoever else. So that's what we're seeing.
Okay. So Mayor, follow-up, Brian, so 21 is when this was put out the bid, is that what I heard?
That's correct.
And then you said there's this possibility of 4 one-year extensions.
That's right. We just do 1 year.
And so there was nothing put out the bid since 21. That's what I'm hearing, right?
That's right. We just negotiate with the vendor in between.
Could I ask a question about the, did you, 11%? I don't have my thing open, but my computer open. Is it 11% increase? 11.5?
I believe that's right, and you have to take into account that we added 7 sites that we didn't have prior. So that's part of that increase.
So what would the 7 sites be added just this year that we didn't have last year?
We added in, I know, at least 3 wastewater sewage lift station sites that we had never had on before. And there were some park locations that have come on since then, and there might be 1 or 2 new irrigation or domestic well houses that were brought on.
Okay.
So as the new facilities are brought on, if they have HVAC in them, then they fall under the contract because somebody has to take care of them. And we tend to find new ones. You know, every year there's a new one that pops up here or there.
Okay, as I'm not aware of any new well houses, but you're saying that there were existing ones possibly that were not?
I think these are pretty much all new, is what we've seen. We took some off, actually, off the list that have been either decommissioned or don't have equipment in them anymore, and then we added these 7 different ones. And the ones that we added on actually have quite a bit of equipment in them.
So the 11% increase is strictly related to the work that we're asking them to do, not just a rate increase?
There is a slight rate increase in there as well. Cost of materials and things like that go up. And I don't know that I have that here. It seemed like it fell in the 5% range or something like that for just the cost.
Thank you for answering the questions. Council, what are you thinking?
One other question, Mayor, if I may, just to prolong this a little bit. So how often, the 4-year extension, so are you just every 5 years? Is that what the main practice has been in the past as far as putting this out to bid, is every 5 years unless there's a challenge?
That's right.
And with the change of economy and so on, any reason why we couldn't do that every 3 years?
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of hours.
But that's why we only do them in 1-year increments, so we can reevaluate them in between. If we feel like we're not getting a good value, we can drop the contract.
I understand. I'm
and go back
just
out.
hearing from Councilman Reynolds, and he has his own business and puts a lot of things out to bids. It seems like with the economy, since 21, things have changed quite drastically. So I'm just wondering
They've gone up quite a bit.
I'm not sure that 5 years is necessary. I think there should be some flexibility in that. And I personally think a 3-year span for bidding would be what I would recommend. But
Well, and if we do move forward this evening, then a recommendation might be that it actually
Next year.
goes, next year it does go out to bid.
that's how I will
think
be.
that's-
I will keep my second with that idea that next year we put it out to bid.
Thank you.
Mayor Kling.
Yes, and then Councilman Haverfield, which,
Okay. Brian, is this a not-to-exceed number?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a lump sum that they would be able to expect. They're going to work up to that amount, and any time that they spend above and beyond is not compensated. I mean, you have overtime rates, and actually, can you send us a copy of that rate sheet so that we have it?
Sure.
So this is not to exceed, is what we're authorizing, is this amount and no more. Otherwise, you'd come back to us for some sort of a budget amendment amount.
Yeah, the only time I would come back for an increase on this would be if we added some new facilities to the service account that we didn't know about before, and we needed to provide service. This is for service citywide, and this is just what the cost is for the year.
Okay, so if you could send us a copy of the rate sheet so we have it, and then a list of all of the locations that they will be servicing. And I assume this is only for service, it's not for any parts and materials. That would be above and beyond as
This
well.
includes filters and belts for
Oh,
all
it does?
equipment.
Okay, so that would be under this amount as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have that list of hourly rates for labor, and so it's in your packet. I don't know why you all didn't get it. So this is the one that I'm using, the Prime Gov. That's what it's in. And I don't, if you don't use Prime Gov, you probably don't have it then.
Everything was submitted in the packet, all the locations, individual location costs. We break them all out by individual cost.
If you wouldn't mind, half of us didn't receive it, so if you can get it to us, I'd appreciate it.
I can do that.
Well, one thing I want to mention is that I spent about 3 hours with Brian, and I've seen the list of all those who are afforded the opportunity to come in and be part of NAMPA by bidding projects. And I hope we re-emphasize that, because we're not getting a lot of people bidding for our projects, are we? That's one of the problems.
That is a lot, and we advertise. We do everything that we can and beyond. A lot of times, we'll make phone calls and encourage contractors to submit bids. But in the end, we just get what we get.
And that's what we've been dealing with over the last 4 years.
In the case of this HVAC contract, it was publicly advertised. There were a lot of opportunities. We reached out to a number of contractors here in the valley, and we had, I believe, 6 contractors that participated in it.
Right, so I just want to make that out, because it's very important for us to reach out to our local communities for this kind of work. But if they're not applying, there's not much we can do. So thank you for what you're doing on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, City Clerk
Yes.
Shar has a comment.
So, Madam Mayor, Councilmember Rodriguez, thank you for bringing that up, that rate sheet attachment A is in our one meeting, and you can actually see it. It is available for the public to view as well. If they go to our public portal and they use the HTML agenda, they can go ahead and look at it. I believe there probably was an error with Adobe when the entire agenda packet was compiled. I think the numbers probably got erased just of how it was submitted, but it is available for the public to view.
Thank you, that's important to know. Okay, so what is the will of the council? We have a motion and a second on the table.
Well, Mayor, I
Yes.
would pull my second unless we add that it's going to go out for bid next year.
Right. Who made the motion?
Victor made it.
Victor. So Victor, does your motion stand
Well-
with a second to go out to bid next year?
I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm going to refer to Brian. Would that be something which we would make it easier, better for us, or continue?
But it would be a requirement of council. And I would strongly recommend that we go out to bid next year. I think it's a good opportunity, and it will have been over 3 years.
Yeah, and we can do that.
Okay, all right, I'll amend that.
Okay. And I'll amend my second to that also.
Okay, so it's been moved that we approve and authorize the mayor to sign the Third Amendment with the dollar amount of $107,733, not to exceed that dollar amount, and the recommendation that we do go out to bid next year. So that's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Roll call.
Jangula,
I'm going to say no because I would rather it go out to bid this year.
Reynolds,
No.
Haverfield,
I'm going to say yes, with the understanding that this is just a one-year contract.
Bruner,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
3 in favor, 2 opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to real quickly go ahead and move through the rest of these agenda items, or at least 7.3 and 7.6, since Daniel will be here afterwards. So Cliff, 7.3 is an action item. It's to authorize the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding with Nampa Development Corporation for a term of October 1, 2023 through September 30, 2024 for a total of $237,548, and this is paid to the city from NDC. So we're not authorizing a payment, we're actually in receipt of those funds. I think, Randy, we talked about moving this from consent as to a regular item, just one, to make the awareness,
Right.
understand
And
that
so we,
NDC is
Mayor, we have
supporting-
no problem with Randy and myself serving on that commission as far as voting on this, right?
Correct,
Okay. So,
because I believe you've already voted on it.
Mayor Kling?
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
one more. However, if the NDC has voted on this prior, being on the NDC board, then is it a conflict or biased vote because we're asking you to vote again?
that's why I'm at,
I don't-
I know, that's what you.
I don't believe it is, because in their, Todd, would you like to speak to it? I mean, I'm happy to answer my opinion, but you're the authority, Todd.
I guess, Mayor, the more common practice I've seen is if a matter is coming before the council, city council members on NDC have declined to vote or recused themselves on the urban renewal vote. That's the practice I've seen in other urban renewal districts. I haven't necessarily seen it in Nampa. It is a separate entity. it raises a question. I'd probably say it's safer for them to recuse themselves if they voted on it previously. But if the practice has been different, we can do it and see what happens.
Well, they certainly could recuse themselves then with that, but at this, if we are receiving the money, so there's really nothing that we should be concerned about because NDC is going to pay the city these funds, and so all we're doing is acknowledging it.
Mayor
The
Kling,
MOUs.
however, what I'm considering is the NDC could, is it easier to give it to the city, which is okay with me, but is it easier for them to pay the bill themselves straight from NDC? I mean, it's a matter of.
Correct. This is not, this is funding specific positions and the work that is done by the city. It has been done this way for the last however many years. Cliff, I don't know how many years we've done this, but there's really no other better way to do this. This is a long-standing practice. It's work performed by the city that NDC is reimbursing the city for.
Yeah, that is correct, Mayor, Councilman. I just point out that these funds are to reimburse the city for work that NDC can't perform on its own. And that includes the snow removal and landscape maintenance of Library Square. It also includes the maintenance that Brian's crew provides on the parking structure and NDC's area there. It also includes a fee for service for administration for NDC from the city, from my services and that of development services. And it also includes the portion that funds the Main Street program that NDC passes through to the city and the city passes through to the Main Street program. The other thing I would point out is that this is about almost 100,000 more than NDC paid last year. They've agreed to increase the amount paid to the city in recognition of enhanced services.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Todd.
Madam Mayor, I'll point out one other thing. Again, I was kind of expressing my experience and what I've seen, but I don't think that there's any kind of conflict of interest. In this case, there's no personal financial interest. As you mentioned, the city is getting compensated. If someone was to argue, it might be the other way around with the NDC vote. But again, I don't think personal interest or personal financial interest is involved in either case.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. Okay, further comments?
Mayor Kling?
Yes.
The only thing I was going to point out to the council and future councils is that eventually these dollars won't be available through the NDC. So the city budgets will need to cover the expense of the operating maintenance of the facilities. And if the city had a desire to own either of those buildings today, they're for sale. We'd be happy to sell them to the city for $1. But then you'd be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep. Otherwise, we're just proceeding with what we've done historically for the last 10 years that I've been on the NDC board.
Thank you, Councilman Haverfield. I'm extremely thankful that NDC reimburses these expenses. I appreciate the fact that they're willing to contribute to the work that's being done and carry their weight. And so to me, it's a given, and I'm very thankful for it. So I would stand for a motion, actually, to authorize the mayor to sign this MOU and to accept these funds.
So moved. A second, I don't care.
Okay, Dale Reynolds moved, seconded. Is there any further discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez.
No.
Brunner.
Yes.
Chingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
4 in favor, 1 opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Cliff. Let's skip down to, we could get 7.4 and 7.5 done, and if they're not long, I'm not sure if these will be long. I would like to get 7.6 done. This is an action item, and this is 7.6 is an action item to approve the installation of no parking signs near the intersections of 11th Avenue South and 4th Street South, 8th Avenue South and 1st Street South, and time-restricted parking near Lakeview Park in the amount of $1,800.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Summerfield,
Yes.
Yes.
Reynolds, Jingula.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. Daniel, we'll come back to yours after. You're here for public hearing, right? Okay, so we'll come back to yours afterwards. So it is about 17 or 18, and we will move at this time into our public hearings. So we're going to start with public hearing 8.1. This is an action item, and it is zoning map amendment from community business to residential professional Okay, so it's, I'm sorry, I got to get this right. It's a zoning map amendment from community business and residential professional zoning districts to residential professional zoning district. This is for 3 parcels, and they're addressed at 310 West Iowa Avenue, 315 West Georgia, and 223 West Georgia Avenue, for a total of 4.79 acres for Gym Prep Academy. And our applicant this evening is, who's our applicant for Gym Prep? Oh, okay, thank you. And what is his name? Who are we looking for? Stephen?
Yes.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello. Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening. Could you go ahead and give us your full name, and then we'll let you introduce what you're wanting to accomplish?
Sure. My full name is Steve Oroz. I'm with Paradigm Design. Our main office is 4250 North Drinkwater Boulevard in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us online this evening.
You bet.
So do you have documents you'd like to share a screen on, or how are we going to proceed? Are we going to use, we've got a zoning map amendment up here
Yes.
on the screen. Is that what we're going to use?
I think that will work, and Parker is online as well, and we've been working closely together. The image that you see there in the blue background with the red diagonal is the main campus. There was the parcel that's included there in the red where it says project location was one of 2 additional parcels that was purchased by the school. The other smaller parcel is just to the left of that, and that was the let's see, that would be the RP zoning. And what we've done is that we've been asked to combine all 3 parcels, the main campus and the 2 smaller parcels, into one parcel for the school. And because one of the 2 smaller parcels had a different zoning, the planning group asked us to rezone the smaller parcels, so all of the property has one zoning designation, which would just clear up any confusion in the future. And that was consistent, the RP is consistent with the other parcels in the area.
Steve, thank you. That is very clear. And is there anything else you would like to share?
No, we do appreciate the council's time this evening to take care of this.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions at this time? Okay. Steve, we'll be right back to you. We'll move
Absolutely.
right. Thank you so much. Parker? This is very straightforward. So, yeah. You heard
Sure.
that. Should be short.
Thank you, Mayor. Parker Bodley, Nampa Planning and Zoning. I'll make it brief. It's all in the staff report, which is available online for anybody interested. It was, Gym Prep was in the process or wanting to build a bus drop-off, which kind of started it, and they were consolidating 3 parcels into one. We've since issued a permit for the bus drop-off, and they're currently constructing that. And they've consolidated 3 parcels into one, and this is just to clean up the zoning to match the surrounding area, which is a mixed use. So a schooling fits the comprehensive plan designation here. And being a mixed use next to residential, and staff doesn't see any issues. Conditions of approval, a lot of this is being taken care of with the site improvement of the bus drop-off. So potential motions there for you, and I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Parker. Council, do you have any questions for Parker? No, thank you so much. So this is a public hearing, and Shar.
Madam Mayor, we do have one person that has signed up. That's Chris Evanson.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening. I was wondering why you were here.
A little strange to see me outside of that 5:30 window.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Chris Evanson. I'm the pastor of the Nampa Seventh-day Adventist Church, which the address is 311 West Iowa. We're on the south side of Iowa from Gem Prep. I'm speaking in behalf of approving this measure. On Wednesdays, when we serve our community, over 100 families every Wednesday, we have traffic lined up for blocks either direction, east and west of the school. We have hundreds of kids coming across the street into our parking lot to be picked up by parents. We've had to cease that opportunity on Wednesdays because that's when we serve our community. But Monday through Friday, that does take place. I would love to see them picking up their students on the north side of their campus, away from Iowa. We have approached the school several times trying to find insurance coverage in case there were any incident that happened on our property to cover us. The school's been good to work with. We have not been able to secure that piece, so I'd love to see them be able to pick up their students and bus their students to the north side of their campus. We're happy to be good neighbors. We've communicated with the school on several occasions on different matters. They've been very good to work with, but I would very much like to see this go through and for them to be able to pick their students up on the north side of campus.
Thank you for those comments. Council, do you have any questions? Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we do not have anyone else signed up.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that had intended to testify on this matter this evening? Seeing none. Mr. Oros, do you have any closing comments?
No, I appreciate the council's time and looking forward to getting the zoning cleaned up as Parker mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions for our applicant?
Yes, Mayor, if I do.
Yes.
Mr. Oros, if you heard Pastor Evanson, are you willing to change that, or are you just going to leave it as is?
Looking at this map, this is for the student busing to be picked up and dropped off in the north side off of West Georgia. Some of the parent pickup and drop off will continue in the main parking lot that accesses Iowa. We feel that this will improve the pickup and drop off process by getting the buses out of that area and dividing the pickup and drop off area into two locations instead of just one.
So you think that's going to alleviate a little bit of the traffic issue by doing that?
I would believe so, that if the buses are in there at the same time as the parents moving around, it will back up. So this would help that situation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for our applicant? If there are none, I would stand for a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, what is the will of the council on this one? Any discussion? I would stand for a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the zoning map amendment from BC Community Business and RP Residential Professional zoning districts to only RP zoning district for 3 parcels addressed as 310 West Iowa, 315 West Georgia, and 223 West Georgia, for a total of 4.79 acres for Gem Prep Nampa, Inc., with all conditions listed in the staff report, and to adopt the proposed findings of approval as stated in the staff report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Pingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
I'd like to say, Pastor Chris, thank you that you guys have hosted that traffic. And I think this is such a good idea. I'm thankful for Gem Prep is a wonderful school. Thank you for all that you do and for the work that you do. I'm mostly concerned about pedestrian safety, the safety of those kids going across that street. And so this is excellent to help move Gem Prep forward and to keep our kids safe. So thank you guys for doing it. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, 8.2 is an action item. This is a zoning map amendment from suburban residential to limited multifamily residential and a potential development agreement at 1157 South Power Line Road. And this is for Aislinn Mangan. And this is to rezone to allow future development of 10 single-family townhouse units in 3 buildings and 1 existing single-family detached lot and 1 common lot. Is our applicant here this evening? Good evening.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mayor, Council, for having us here. My name is Jesse Christensen, 2151 West Willow Point Avenue, Nampa, Idaho. You'll hear from Ms. Mangan shortly, but I'm here to talk about our project first of all. And, I'm not going to use all 6 minutes. You don't have to. You can time me, that's fine. Anyway, we're here to talk about putting in a small townhome community on the property that Ms. Mangan bought a couple of years ago. We have townhomes directly to the south of us. We have townhomes to the west of us. There's a shared private roadway that we're going to have to work with the Timber Creek subdivision behind us to get access through, because the property to the south is a little too close, so we can't have our own access road. They're working through that right now, so it looks like hopefully that's all going to move forward pretty well. We have come up with a couple of different designs for parking, but we don't really have to talk about those quite yet because we're just here for a rezone right now for the 10 townhomes and then the single family. We've got a small open space on there. I think it fits in the area. We've got townhomes both sides of us, so I can stand for questions if you have any.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Nope, we'll wait for the
All
full
right.
thing and we'll have you back, as you know.
I will be back.
Thank you. Good evening, Christy.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Christy Watkins, Principal Planner for the City of Nampa. As stated, the request before you this evening is for rezoning of 0.92 acres from RA to RML for the property located at 1157 South Power Line Road. Tonight is just a rezone request. They would like to be able to split off the existing home that's on the power line frontage. The only way they can do that is to rezone it to RML so they can get that smaller lot size. The RA zone requires a 30,000 square foot minimum, so to be able to split it off, they have to rezone it. At that point, then, they will determine the access challenges and figure out what the best layout would be, and they'll bring that preliminary plat back at a different date when they get that resolved. Okay, so the property is currently inside the city limits, zoned RA. It does have townhouses completely surrounding it that are all RML zoned. The traffic impact study, this does not meet the threshold for requiring a traffic impact study because it's only kind of proposing 10 houses, but again, that'll be determined during the preliminary plat. The existing South Power Line Road access is to be closed permanently upon development of the parcel. But Caleb and I have worked on conditions of approval that state that the existing home, as long as it stays intact, can use that access until such time as the whole parcel is developed. Correspondence from the police department, the fire department, and the engineering department. This is what it would look like. So Timber Creek has this access drive. Leatherman Peak is to the south of the access drive. Back in the day, 2014, it was a condition of approval that a cross-access agreement with this property to the south be entertained when it's necessary. And so it is a requirement for them to work with Ms. Mangan on getting that resolved. The comprehensive plan lays out a few guiding principles about density, smart growth principles, building design, housing affordability and compatibility, and the need to provide housing opportunities. Staff finds that all the guiding principles in the comprehensive plan are met by this project. The project has been reviewed under the RML guidance and meets compatibility requirements. This is a potential layout. Like I said, they're still working on access, and so it might move some of the buildings around, but this is what they've come up with so far. The 4 basic criteria that need to be met for the zoning of the property is that the zoning is appropriate, the use is appropriate, that it does provide orderly development of the city, and that it is in the interest of the public. So staff finds that it meets all that criteria. These are the conditions of approval with the addition of these 2 at the bottom, that the single-family parcel may continue to use the access onto Powerline Road, and that the development of this parcel shall be in a townhouse style with a number of units that meets the required density for the RML zoning district, and provide an access layout that is approved by the Nampa Engineering Department. These are your potential motions with these added conditions, and I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Councilman Haverfield.
So Christie, the frontage or the northern boundary line is a full frontage access for these units, is that correct?
Councilman Haverfield, the northern boundary line is the private drive that goes into Timber Creek.
Okay.
And that would be the approved access point.
So garages for the units would be facing to the north and would be able to have access, or would there be, it looks like there's a separation there. I don't know what the distance is. There isn't a secondary road there, is it?
There is not a secondary road. You would need to talk to Jesse about how he's planning to lay those out. Right now, all we have are the little rectangles in there, and he hasn't really designated the final layout yet.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. So that's why I asked if full frontage was along the northern boundary line so that they can access garages at the front of the units, because there's not a rear access, it appears, to these units. So, and maybe he can answer that question.
I think he'd be better to answer that. He's
And then
more
you say
familiar
they
with
are
the size.
townhouse.
Townhouses.
Okay, so there'll be individual ownership
Correct.
opportunities.
Yep, they'll match the townhouses that are surrounding.
And is the common lot meant to be a stormwater retention area, or is it meant to be open play area? What?
Again, they haven't submitted the preliminary plat, so I don't have all those details yet.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christie. Are there any other questions? Okay, thanks. Thank you, and Jesse will let you answer that question at the end. Okay, this is a public hearing, and sure.
Madam Mayor, our first speaker is Sean Mayben.
Good evening, Sean. You'll have 3 minutes, and if you could come give us your name and address.
Sean Maben, 904 Dearborn, Caldwell. I'm actually just the attorney for Ms. Mangan, so actually Jesse could probably just answer your question. They're just, the part of it, the development agreement and that cross-access is that this is just a rezone, and they would make sure before they developed, and as part of the condition, that that would be taken care of. But as far as the design, Jesse would be able to answer your question, but I think that's kind of what they're planning as a rezone right now, so that would be addressed when they went to develop. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very
I guess,
much.
do you have any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Madam Mayor, our next speaker is the applicant, Aislinn Magnan.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Aislinn Mangan. I am the owner of 1157 South Powerline Road. I'd like to start out by thanking the City Council for your time and consideration in planning and zoning for all of their work on this rezone. I grew up in Chalice and Mackay, Idaho, attended Boise State's nursing program, and am happy to have the opportunity to invest in my state and community of Nampa, especially as it grows into a larger and more popular destination. I'd like to reassure you that I agree with the prior presented intent from the people of Timber Creek, our neighbor, and the people to the north, to diligently create an easement agreement that is mutually beneficial for all involved, including the city. We have heard their requests at planning and zoning meeting and tailored our access points to have the most controlled traffic as possible while providing the least invasive routes to and from their drive. So there are only going to be 2 access points. As Jesse Christensen, our engineer, will elaborate here shortly. Thank you again for your time and for allowing myself and my team to be a part of Nampa City's beautiful evolution. That's it.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we do not have anyone else signed up.
Thank you. So is there anyone else here that had intended to testify on this matter this evening? Okay, seeing no one, this is an opportunity, Jesse, for you to come back and provide some closing comments. And council, for you to have any clarifications that you need.
Good evening again. Christy, do you have my updated layout? There we are. Okay, so to answer a couple of questions, the common lot, Mr. Haverfield, is large enough for our stormwater and the green space right now. We've just, because it's, was it Mr. Haverfield that asked this one? It was. All right. Since this is just a rezone, we've just lumped it all together. We've done preliminary stormwater calculations, and so there is enough room in there for everything to fit and still meet the city's green space requirements on that lot. Parking, excuse me, as it stood before, when we came before planning and zoning, all of the parking, all of the garages are coming off the front of the buildings to the north into that private street for Timber Creek. One thing we noticed while we were doing this design is there's a lot of cars that park along there as well. So we've looked at changing to just 2 access points with a shared private driveway in there with some additional parking that's not on the lots. I think we've got 8 or 9 spots additional in there for guests on top of the 1 parking spot in the driveway and 1 parking spot in the garage, depending on the size of the garage and driveway. It could be 2-car garages. We've talked about all different ways of doing it, but all the access is off the north. And we've just identified this area as a shared private driveway with enough room for fire department to get in and turn around and give access to that parcel 1 when they go to construction.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
council, do you have any clarifying questions? Councilman Haverfield.
I'm looking at the layout of the lots and the separation from the northern boundary line to the footprint, which I assume is the shaded area where the homes would be.
Right.
And that distance, it appears, well, even in looking at it, what is the post-shade area? What is that intended to be?
It's, I had the surveyor put this together this week. It's a paved parking area, either asphalt or concrete parking in the shaved area along Timber Creek Subs Road. Is that the area you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that area there, that is an asphalt or concrete shared driveway to all the homes, and then each individual home will have a driveway off of that to their townhome.
Okay, so in looking at this diagram compared to what we have in our packet, they're a little bit different in
Yes.
that area that's post-shade is not defined that way in our packet. So in looking at it, okay, if that's the driveway, then it makes sense that the distance of 20 feet to the front of the units
Right.
would be the driveways into the garages of the units. So,
Right, yes, there's an additional 20 feet between that shared access to each individual house for parking.
okay. And then you can work out the particulars as far as landscaping and all that later on.
Right, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering those questions. Are there any other questions from City Council? And recognizing this is just a zoning map amendment at this time. So with that, if there are no other questions, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions for our applicant, then I would stand for a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, what is the will of the council?
Mayor, I'll make the motion to recommend the approval for the zoning map amendment from RA to RML zoning district at 1157 South Powerline Road for Aislinn Mangan, sorry. ZAM-00180-2023 with all conditions listed in the staff report and to adopt the proposed findings of approval as stated in the staff report.
Second.
With these added conditions, if you could go ahead and
With
read
the added
those.
conditions for the single-family parcel may continue to access Powerline Road until such time as it is redeveloped. And then number 2, also the development in the parcel shall be in the townhome style with a number of units that meets the requirements for the density of the RML zoning district and as an access layout that is approved by the Nampa Engineering Development
My second's still good.
Thank you. So it has been moved.
Department. Sorry, I'm making
It's
up
all right.
words.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Hammerfield.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Jingula.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, our next public hearing, 8.3 on the agenda, is an action item. This is an action item, and it's a zoning map amendment from light industrial to community business for 7.92 acres of an 11.89 acre parcel. This is at 2200 East Chisholm Drive for Jeff Hatch, Hatch Design Architecture, representing Bryven, Idaho LLC.
Good evening, Jeff Hatch. My address is 5119 Briarcrest Drive in the wonderful town of Nampa, Idaho. Madam Mayor and council members, thank you for your consideration of our rezone application this evening. The subject property is just west of the Centennial Golf Course. You'll see that we have in the general vicinity the interstate. We have a TV station, packing facility, general contractor's office. Looking at the proposed site, we're proposing a hotel. And it's probably been about 2 years now ago, we requested that this property be rezoned from BC to IL. So I would assume the question of the council would be, why are we rezoning it back? In light of recent development in the eastern portion of Nampa and the western portion of Nampa, we found that we've gotten a substantial amount of activity for BC uses on this property. And the IL in this area seems to be satisfied elsewhere in the city. The other consideration based on access, we currently have just one bridge access to this site. And looking at some of the heavier uses that would require semi-truck access, we thought that the IL use in this area could be more problematic.
Excuse me, sir. Mayor, if I could. Clarification, you said west of Centennial. It's not west of Centennial, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's east?
It's west.
Is it west?
It is west.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I was trying to figure it out. I'm probably not. No.
You've hit golf balls.
Yeah, I have. I probably have. Yeah, thank you. My bad. Thank you.
Here's a concept perspective of the hotel. It's a Wyndham product, which is a dual brand with La Quinta, 4-story hotel. And from the staff report, I just wanted to recap a couple items. The staff recommends approval. The project meets the requirements of the Nampa Comprehensive Plan for 2040. And in the staff report, Peter Nielsen, Senior Plans Examiner for the roadway, had said that we would need a traffic study if we exceed 100 new vehicle trips per day or for peak hour or 1,000 daily. So we did just kind of a rough calculation based on this use, and we're coming up with about half of what would be required for that traffic impact study. In the staff report, there was one neighbor who had expressed concern of that, so we wanted to make sure that we addressed that and gave that information to the council. The balance of this site on the northern portion, I perceive that will merit some sort of traffic impact study, and at that time we'll probably be proposing a culvert bridge to the north to the cul-de-sac. There are a couple other opportunities that we're evaluating for a secondary access to this property, but it'll kind of come with those proposed uses in the future. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Council, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Not yet? I do have one question, and it has to do with the height of the building as it relates to, and this may have been in the staff report, but Channel 6 and their satellites, and my understanding is there's not a problem. I just thought I'd go ahead and voice the question and let you speak to that.
Madam Mayor, at Planning and Zoning, the gentleman, Jeff, and I forget his last name, I just remember his first name because it's the same name as mine, came and he had voiced that about 2 years ago when we originally rezoned that he had a concern with the height. We actually worked with our structural engineer to reduce the floor cavity system by about 3 feet to be below what he had requested. And so that was coordinated with Planning and Zoning. And I believe that was satisfied at that time. Yeah.
Okay. And since this is Christy, we'll have her confirm that she can confidently say that's been resolved. So,
Mayor, one
Thank you,
other
yes.
question. You did mention it, Jeff, as far as the neighbor, as far as the business, somewhat concerned with safety because they're moving trucks in and out of there. And so with the second access, this is something that maybe Daniel can speak to too, but you feel like that there's going to be able to be an agreement worked out where both parties are satisfied with the traffic flow?
Based on code, since both the proposed building is fire sprinklered, the proposed overall property would have to exceed 125,000 square feet before it would be required by code to have a secondary access.
Okay, so have you've spoken with the owner of the business so that is concerned with his traffic and just safety of the folks who are using the motel for overnight? Are you aware of that? I mean, that's in the packet as far as his concerned.
I'm aware, and I was under the impression that they may be here this evening, but we did provide that response that we're
I guess my question, Jeff, has anybody been in communication with this business owner regarding that?
I know that we had several people show up to our neighborhood meeting, and traffic was one of those concerns.
Okay.
I cannot confirm that gentleman was at that meeting.
All right, thanks.
Are there any other questions at this time? Okay, thank you. As you know, we will have you back.
Thank you.
In just a minute. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Christy Watkins, Principal Planner for the City of Nampa. The request before you this evening is for a zoning map amendment from IL to BC for 7.92 acres of an 11.89 acre parcel at 2200 East Chisholm Drive. And this parcel has kind of a long history. It was annexed in 1987. It was rezoned from IP to BC in 1996, and it stayed that way for quite some time. It was then rezoned to IL in December of 2022. We have gone through design review approvals on the Bath Fitters Flex building that is in the IL zone. They have met the requirements of the development agreement for that rezone. At that time, it was indicated that there would be a height requirement for any new buildings that would be built on that property because of the television station. My recommendation tonight is that we modify the development agreement for this portion of the property and we keep some of those same conditions intact as far as use and heights of buildings goes. You've already discussed some of the public input. I think I will let you guys work that out. It was also my understanding that there would be a representative here tonight, so hopefully that's the case. So they previously stretched the industrial designation from the comprehensive plan onto this property to get the IL zoning, but it's actually designated as commercial in the comprehensive plan, so it does comply with that. The zoning is appropriate. The hotel is an allowed use in the BC zone, and the types of other uses that they may want to recommend in the future are vastly greater than what would be allowed in the IL zone. So that's one of the reasons why they've included more of that parcel in that zone. He discussed the traffic impact study and the need for fire sprinkling potentially. There are, again, the 4 criteria for the zoning requirements. Staff finds those 4 criteria to be met. These are your conditions of approval, and I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Christy. Council, do you have any questions at this time?
Just one, Christy. It appears that East Chisholm Drive is where the bridge is to access the So if a second access was required at some point, could they come off of North 20th? Is that where they would come off to get a
Councilman
second bridge?
Haverfield, there is a cul-de-sac to the north in the industrial park that's there currently,
Mhm.
and there is enough room if they can get easements across those parcels to be able to put a bridge in there as well.
It seems like the logical location for it if it was to be added. I'm just wondering about access to this parcel. Visibility is going to be great for a hotel, but access is going to be difficult to find because you have to go clear down to the overpass to get down to come back in on Chisholm. But I'm not the one building the motel, hotel, whatever it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. So this is a public hearing, and Shar, do we have anyone here to testify?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have S. Ellis Cunningham signed up.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Ellis Cunningham, address 1700 Ridgecliff in Boise. I represent Packaging Corporation of America. Some of the comments were already discussed here, and we just want to make sure that, since it is such a change in use that is going on, we do have a large number of semi-trucks coming in and out of the facility for our goods. We've been a long-standing resident of Nampa. I don't know how far back we go, 30-plus years, and just want to know, I understand it's a zoning amendment right now, but that it's taken into consideration because we do obviously highly value the safety of our personnel and everybody else on the road.
Thank you. I'm just curious, could we point out exactly where you're located?
Of course.
On a map? Christy, thank you for doing so.
So we'll be a little hard here, but directly to the west, that's right. That's us right there.
So the access crosses that southern area?
Yes,
South of
and
that
so,
as you come
yes,
in
you
from the
follow
south?
that road out, correct.
Thank you. Councilman Haverfield?
So you use Chisholm Drive as far as to access your property?
That
then?
is our sole primary ingress, egress for all truck traffic.
Is that a private road or is it public?
No, public.
Okay, so what is the width of the road, do you know?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Wide enough for your semi-traffic then?
Correct.
Okay. So if you were to combine that with public access to a hotel site or a motel site, whatever it is, do you see the cross, it'd be different than what you're currently have happening around your site at this time because there's nothing else?
There's nothing else other than the TV station. I mean, there's some other businesses, but yes, it would be increased traffic.
So is the TV station just to the east of you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, so
Yes.
do you approximately on an average daytime as far as semis moving in and
It
out?
depends on the shift. It's a multi-shift operation. I would say.
Are you 24 then 7?
Not 24/7, but often a lot of Saturdays. So 3 shift days. Saturdays and weekends will be less depending on, manufacturing need.
Do you have trucks moving after dark?
Yes,
I would,
yes, sir.
especially winter time.
Yes, so I think in a typical day, you'll probably see 40 to 50 semis broken up into shifts. Obviously, primary shift will be much heavier during the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we do not have anyone else signed up.
Is there anyone else here that had intended to testify on this particular matter? Okay, seeing none, this is an opportunity, Jeff, for you to come. Jeff, before you come, I have a quick question. Christy, could you just clarify for me, as we look at the project, is it North 20th Street that is up above that cul-de-sac?
Yes, that's
Does
right.
that go all the way up to Karcher to where you could access the roundabout? Yes, I see Daniel.
Yes.
Okay. That would be absolutely awesome, because I think anybody using that parcel would want to be able to come off of Karcher and the new roundabout that's being installed there, so that would be ideal. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, Jeff. Thank you for providing some closing comments.
Madam Mayor and council members, after this hearing, should the request be approved, we do have a design review hearing in about a week or so. So I would just offer for our neighbor that we could probably discuss if there are any additional considerations or restrictions that could be applied at that application. A couple other considerations just with this hotel. The property owner who is building this wanted to build a hotel specifically for Nampa and the kind of unique dynamics of this area. So they're proposing this dual brand because it has about half of the hotel with extended stay units. And so these are things if we have firefighters in town, if we have subcontractors, if we have people that need to stay in Nampa for an extended period of time, That's kind of a unique aspect to this. They're also investing a substantial amount of money in an indoor pool so that you can have a year-round feature to this particular hotel. And it also has a range of meeting spaces within it. So just a couple considerations with that. Overall, even though Nampa still has a lot of bare land that can be developed, I feel like we're running out of land and we got to use it wisely. So with this proposed rezone, we really wanted to make sure that we were being thoughtful to this area. With the changes in a lot of the industrial to the east and west of us, we thought that this was the greatest and best use. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions? Okay, Councilman Haverfield, do you have any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm kind of thinking as I'm talking at the same time. So this is approximately about 12-acre site. How much of the site will be dedicated to the hotel?
Oh, four.
Four?
Four-ish.
Would it be more on the frontage with I-84, or would it be in the back part?
It will be on the frontage.
Okay. So your primary access point makes more sense that it is Chisholm and not an extension off North 20th.
Correct. To achieve the extension off North 20th, we'll have to acquire an easement or land from two individual properties. So that will take some time. So this at least gets us on the property for development.
So so the site plan, what is indicated there is your hotel. So the back portion, what would it be used for then?
Additional BC zoned uses.
Whatever. So if a second bridge were needed or a second access point, it would be at that time that, with that development, that maybe it would come forth.
Yeah, we feel that there's enough acreage there for development to justify, a culvert bridge to achieve that.
Okay. And then you're confident as far as in design of this facility that the public traffic generated off the freeway for hotel stay or even extended stay being more small cars interacting with the larger vehicles to the west of them would not be an issue or a major issue?
Yeah. So my dad worked at Hanson Rice for a number of years, so I'm intimately familiar with Chisholm and have driven by these particular semi-trucks. Candidly, I feel that a vehicle and a semi-truck in this particular application can navigate that street better than two semi-trucks for sure.
What is the width of the street, do you know?
I do not.
And I'm not sure if that's something Daniel can help us with. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're not going to close public hearing because just in case we need to have a comment back after we have Daniel answer that question. So.
Find that man. It's $25.
Mayor, Councilman Haverfield, the roads out there are approximately 40 feet wide, which is a little bit wider than our standard residential road is today. And with what's out there, I don't feel that there would be any conflict that would, there may be a conflict is if there are a couple of semis there or something, but nothing that would be long-term or prevent this development from proceeding.
So as far as street parking, is it allowed along that?
Street parking is allowed along there.
So that would constrict the traffic if that was allowed. So is that something we should look into or not?
I would generally say that I would recommend we not address that at this time, that as the development develops, if that becomes an issue, that's an easy thing for us to come back in and authorize no parking at that time. But it's not something we generally would do without a conflict there today.
Okay. So 40 feet is back to back of curb, is that what?
That's actually pavement width, so it's back to back, it's a little more than that.
Thank you.
Daniel, could I ask another question? I just am thinking about that 20th Street. So when you come off of Chisholm, I normally just head right back out, but you could actually turn on Fargo and turn, if you're coming north on Chisholm as it curves up, you could turn right and go over to 20th and go up to Karcher that way?
And likely that people who are there often will
exactly what they
learn
do.
that and do that. People who, a one-off hotel stay, they may not be savvy enough to do that until something actually connects straight up 20th. But that is certainly an option to, if it's at peak times and Franklin's hard to get out on, they could easily come back up around and come to the intersection and get out much quicker that way.
That's wonderful. You'd think I would have done that, but I hadn't. And that's a great option for that area. So that gives you, I think, some added access onto Franklin. That's great. Thank you for answering that. Okay, with that information, does Jeff have do you need to make any follow-up comments to that discussion? I just want to give you that opportunity since you normally have closing comments.
Madam Mayor, I don't have any other further comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
Jeff,
Yes.
before you sit down, Mayor, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You don't plan on having any rail access as far as a spur or anything in the future here?
I haven't seen anything
It's
as
pretty
of
constricted,
late.
I would think
It
that.
would be difficult, even just to get a spur, the amount of land that you're looking at taking up for that.
Okay, so as Chisholm then goes along the southern portion of this property, there's that corner piece that's left up against the railroad track. Down below that, there you go.
Right there.
What is that? Who owns that property?
That is that's a multi-tenant building.
Okay. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It is.
Planned?
Currently permitted and.
Oh, okay, it's planned. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is that use? Is that a hotel?
That use?
Or is that is that industrial?
That is something that actually was zoned to light industrial. I think that's where Bath Fitters was actually considering that building. That is not being asked to be zoned back in this particular application. It's staying the IL. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. You may not be able to see that little cursor that's moving around, but just for clarity.
Okay, so we have even more traffic being generated back to that back corner. That's my concern then, is the amount of traffic that's going to be forced back onto Chisholm to the west without having that northern relief. But I'll let our planning staff to develop what needs to happen long-term with the property development. Is this a brownfield site, or has it always been agricultural use?
To the best of my knowledge, it's kind of been a brown field, but it hasn't necessarily been a wayside of any sort.
Okay.
It's somewhat restricted by the canal and the railroad and the interstate, so it hasn't really been used.
It's not been used for industrial in the past. It's not contaminated soils or anything like that.
No, our soils report came back fairly clean.
And what are you circling there, Christy?
Councilman Haverfield, a portion of this property belongs to ITD for retention of the drainage groundwater that comes off of the freeway.
Oh, okay. Does that go underneath Chisholm then, I assume?
I would assume. I'm not quite sure how that basin works.
Daniel, thank you. for
It
answering.
does, it will, it doesn't go under the public portion of Chisholm, but it will go under their drive aisle that's been developed. So it's piped underneath their drive aisle as they come from the public into the private area.
And Daniel, as that's defined up there, Chisholm is 40 feet wide, is what you indicated. So the section directly to the north of it, on that little stub portion, what is that, just below your cursor, right there? Is that, what is that area?
So that is where their drive aisle coming into the site. So on the public right-of-way for Chisholm stops at the center line of the Phyllis Canal. And so they have developed a private drive aisle coming into the site from there. And that area there is where Christie's cursor is that private drive aisle.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Jeff, feel free.
I'll just add to that, Councilman Haverfield. We're also adding pedestrian access along there to improve pedestrian accessibility.
There won't be any pathway extensions on that, or will there?
There will be connecting to Chisholm.
Oh, okay. Good, thank you. How about going over the railroad track to the golf course for Victor?
We're working on it.
Make sure that it's a cart path so that Darrell can ride his golf.
No, he'll hurt himself.
Thank you.
Avoid the rock jacks.
He'll hurt himself.
Are there any further questions for Jeff? Okay, Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions for our applicant, I would stand for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, council.
Do it? I better do it then. Sorry, Mayor. I move to approve the zoning map amendment from IL to BC with a new development agreement for 7.92 acres of an 11.89 acre parcel at 2200 East Chisholm Drive for Jeff Hatch, Hatch Design Architecture, representing Breven, Idaho, LLC, ZMA 00177-2023, with all conditions listed in the staff report, and to adopt the proposed findings of approval as stated in this staff report.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. On the discussion side, I just want to come back. On the conditions of approval, did you note in your conditions of approval the height issue for Channel 6? I know that we talked about the height of the building was within what they thought, but I was wondering, should we say that the height does not inhibit the satellite transmission for Channel 6, that there's some condition around that so that we don't end up with a major problem with Channel 6 and their transmission?
Mayor, I believe I did it in the staff report, but not in my presentation. So if you would like to state that in the motion, just to make sure that those get carried over from the
That there is
original
a condition.
Yeah.
That the height does not inhibit the satellite transmission?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would ask if we would be willing to
Yes.
put that in the motion
That'd be fine, Mayor.
and the
I'll
second?
amend my second.
Okay,
Mayor, I have a question then.
yes.
Who's to know what direction is it, you're talking about something from above down, not
Well, it's what they're
south,
transmitting up,
right?
their signal out.
Councilman
So it
Haverfield,
Wouldn't be directional
they've requested no taller than 60 feet.
as far as the height of the building. Does that kind of coincide with fire? They're not here anymore. Or there you are. As far as the height of the building and our ladder reach is fine for protecting the building long-term? Okay,
Okay,
all right.
okay. So that it's been moved
And that's the way the
seconded.
condition is that I thought I wrote in the staff report, I'm pretty sure I did, that it says that the uses should be maintained that were in the original development agreement and that the height shouldn't be over 60 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, just to confirm, Christy, you did. It's on page 1724.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm not going crazy.
Thank
So
you.
good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So amend that up to 60 feet for the height. Okay. You want to change your second?
Well, it's whatever,
It's- Whatever the,
Conditions in the staff report.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in the staff
Okay.
report.
thank you. Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Jingula,
Yes.
Reynolds. Haverfield,
Yes.
Brunner,
yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you for your development, guys. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our public hearings for this evening. We are going to move back, and we have a couple of new business items to finish. We're going to go to 7.4 on the agenda. This is an action item. This is to authorize the mayor to sign a resolution adopting the 2020 Idaho Standards for Public Works Construction and the 2023 City of Nampa Standard Construction Specifications, Engineering Development and Policy Manual, and Traffic Impact Study Policy. And this has been reviewed and approved by Todd Lakey. And Daniel, do you have any comments?
So move.
Second.
I guess no opportunity
I'd
for
love to
comments.
have
We're good.
Daniel read the 1,000 pages.
Yeah, there you go.
1,500 pages.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Jingula,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Haverfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Item 7.5 is an action item. This is to authorize the mayor to sign a task order for the Middleton Road Lift Station 19 design services with Stantec Consulting Services in the amount of $66,597. It is approved in the FY23 budget and standard task order agreement, which was originally approved by legal.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Pingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
And at this time, we'll move to section 9 on the agenda, and I believe we only have one item there, and this is our unfinished business.
Mayor?
Yes.
Really quickly, which public hearing were you guys thinking you were here for? Yeah. Oh, you're just here. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any confusion. You guys didn't have something that you wanted to address, so.
Yeah, well,
okay. Thanks.
test will be at 7:30.
Yeah. Study up.
Yeah. Okay, so 9.1 is an action item. This is the first reading of ordinance of annexation and zoning to RS4 on 43.81 acres and family RMH, family multifamily residential on 5.88 acres and community business on 4.01 acres for a total of 53.71 acres, including the potential development agreement and preliminary plat for the Northland subdivision on Prescott Lane. And it is requested to pass under suspension of rules.
An ordinance of the City of Nampa, Idaho, determining that certain lands commonly known as 0 Prescott Lane, Nampa, Idaho, county parcels R3438801 and R3438880, located in the south half of the southwest fourth of the sections 35, Township 4, Range North and Range 2 West, Boise Meridian, comprising approximately 53.71 acres, more or less contiguous to the limits of the City of Nampa, Canyon County, State of Idaho. And that said land should be annexed into the City of Nampa and be zoned as follows. Number 1, 43.81 acres to RS4, single-family residential. Number 2, 5.88 acres to RMH, multifamily residential. And 3, 4.01 acres to BC community business. Declaring said lands by proper legal description as described below to be a part of the City of Nampa. Declaring that said annexation is subject to the terms of that certain development agreement between the applicant and the city. Determining that said annexation and zoning is in the best interest of the public and is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Directing the city engineer and the planning and zoning director to add said property to the official zoning maps and other area maps of the city. Providing for recordation, providing for severability, providing an effective date, repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and directing the city clerk to file a certified copy of the ordinance and the map of the area to be annexed with Canyon County, State of Idaho, and the Idaho State Tax Commission pursuant to Idaho Code Section 63-215.
Mayor Kling, make a motion to pass the ordinance as read under suspension of rules.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Pingula.
No.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
4 in favor, 1 opposed, motion carries.
That concludes our regular agenda. I would stand for a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 742061J to consider labor contract matters authorized under Section 742061A and B.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Jingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. We will be doing executive session in this room, and so we'll take a short break and